Ahead of the Chief Science Advisors Roundtable of G20 countries in Uttarakhand early next week, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India says the roundtable is conceptualized as an initiative under India's G20 presidency to drive the agenda of inclusive global science advice. And G20 consultation on the theme Health, Wellbeing and Sports Agenda for Youth organized at the King George's Medical University in Lucknow. Thought-provoking discussions take place on a range of issues like health, wellness, Ayurveda, preventing sports injuries and performance enhancement. Addressing the One World TB Summit at Rudraksh Convention Centre in Varanasi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke on how the spirit behind the One World TB Summit is the same as the spirit that is reflected in the theme of India's G20 presidency of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Take a listen.
एक देश के तौर पर भारत की विचारधारा का प्रतिबिंब वसुधैव कुटुंबकम यानी होल वर्ल्ड इज वन फैमिली की भावना में झलकता है। ये प्राचीन विचार आज आधुनिक विश्व को इंटीग्रेटेड विजन दे रहा है, इंटीग्रेटेड सॉल्यूशंस दे रहा है। इसलिए ही प्रेसिडेंट के तौर पर भारत ने G20 समिट की भी थीम रखी है वन वर्ल्ड, वन फैमिली, वन फ्यूचर। अभी कुछ समय पहले ही भारत ने वन अर्थ, वन हेल्थ के विजन को भी आगे बढ़ाने की पहल की है और अब वन वर्ल्ड टीबी समिट के जरिए भारत ग्लोबल गुड के एक और संकल्प को पूरा कर रहा है।
The tea city of Dibrugarh in Assam hosted the G20 Research and Innovation Initiative Gathering Conference that deliberated on ways to build a sustainable and circular bioeconomy. DD India correspondent Subina Roy reports from Dibrugarh. The G20 Research and Innovation Initiative Gathering Conference in Dibrugarh saw participation of 59 foreign delegates from 28 countries, out of which 15 were G20 members and over 100 were invited participants. The inaugural session was presided over by Dr. S. Chandrashekhar, Secretary in the Department of Science and Technology in the Government of India. The co-chairs also included members of G20 Troika, Indonesia and Brazil.
In order to truly achieve a sustainable circular bioeconomic model, we must look beyond technology advancement alone and consider innovative ways that combine both human ingenuity with natural resources.
The focus areas of the deliberations were challenges and opportunities in agriculture, decarbonization of industry, bioenergy and bioresource management. The conference saw deliberations on national and regional programs, country experiences, regulatory framework, public and private sector collaboration, and the role of research, development and innovation in developing more circular bio-based technologies and cooperation between G20 members on thematic areas.
By applying some principles and practices and policies from bioeconomy, fight all these problems at the same time and harvest a lot of co-benefits. And I think that's really the most important thing. The global players actually walk the talk and they really do what they are saying we should be doing, namely redirecting finances from supporting fossil fuels to this kind of practices.
Later in the day, G20 delegates were taken out for a gala dinner at the Bogibeel riverfront. The delegates were also taken for a river cruise at the Brahmaputra River.
Many emerging issues were discussed at the G20 deliberations, which included agriculture, decarbonization of industry, bioenergy. The deliberations will certainly go a long way towards building a sustainable future along with achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. With camera person Pranab Chetia, Subina Roy, DD India.
On Saturday, Itanagar in Arunachal Pradesh is all set to welcome G20 delegates attending the G20 Research and Innovation Initiative Gathering Conference in Dibrugarh. During their visit, the delegates will visit the Arunachal Pradesh Legislative Assembly, where they will see an exhibition. Thereafter, they will visit Buddhist Monastery and Jawaharlal Nehru State Museum in Itanagar. Dr. Chandrashekhar, Secretary in the Department of Science and Technology in the Government of India, spoke exclusively with DD India correspondent Sabina Roy. Dr. Chandrashekhar spoke on the need for minimizing fossil fuel consumption and using more bioenergy resources and other issues. Take a listen.
Today we have with us Dr. Chandrashekhar, who is Secretary, Department of Science and Technology. Welcome, sir, to DD News.
Thank you so much.
Sir, as today's deliberations are on circular bioeconomy, so how is this paradigm shift from fossil fuels to green technology going to happen?
If you look at the energy resources, I don't think we are going to be going away from fossil fuels permanently. Because fossil fuel is going to be there with us because India has rich sources and world also has still resources. But knowing that these resources are depleting, and also we know that fossil fuels are the ones which cause greenhouse gas emissions, especially carbon dioxide. Because all fossil fuels are carbon based, and we know that coal is carbon, similarly whatever we consume, petrol, diesel. So naturally it's the responsibility of all of us, not just India, but all the citizens of this planet, all the countries. We need to make sure that how we minimize the fossil fuel consumption and slowly get into this bioenergy related products. For example, what we call bioethanol. Even bioethanol gives you greenhouse gas at some point of time. But then can you capture that carbon dioxide which is coming out and reuse it again? So the circularity is that whatever you do a product, naturally there are going to be some byproducts and also side products. So how we are going to bring back these byproducts and side products as raw materials for another useful product or same product. That is how we talk of circular economy.
Sir, talking about agriculture, so we are talking about moving on towards sustainable agriculture and keeping in mind the increasing global population, how are we going to ensure food security in the world?
Today, if you look at food security, we all know that how green revolution has played an important role in increasing the crop production. But now that we are also working on genetically important crops, especially after our CRISPR technologies have evolved, and we also have a policy on that currently. So now we know that how we can modify our crop production, not only by external forces like plant growth promoters, urea, or for example, we use pesticides and all that. Now we are matured enough to understand how we can produce food security for the planet while not compromising on the quality of the environment.
Sir, we all know about the great economic divide between developing nations and developed nations. While developing nations are still on the ladder of economic development, sir, how do we maintain the equity, between these nations and while we are transiting towards newer economic models based on sustainability?
If you look at the economic divide, it is going to be there as long as humanity will be there. Countries will start developing alternate sources of income. For example, some countries will grow based on tourism economy. Some countries grow on whatever fossil fuels they have. Some countries go on technology. So you have seen how Israel has developed, how India is currently growing using all resources. While we are very strong in service sector, we are also now innovation country. Thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, the kind of innovations, the kind of startups we are getting. So naturally there is going to be some gap between the developed nations and developing nations. But we all should know that it is the responsibility of all of us. It is not that only developed nations will make technologies or only developing nations will be disciplined. I think all of us, that's the purpose of, if you look at G20 nations, it also has developed nations, it also has developing nations, it also has underdeveloped nations. So I think this kind of summits, especially when we got the presidency, India has been advocating strongly that we should minimize the gap, and technologies whatever available should be shared amongst all of us. It is not that I develop a technology and hold it back and then I will not share with a developing nation. But they start producing fossil fuel consumption, and they start producing carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases. Global warming is not restricted to one country. So having a technology, I fail. Similarly, when we saw the COVID pandemic, it is not restricted to one country or two countries. Like pandemic, even this greenhouse gases or pan-planet. So naturally, the responsibility of G20 nations is whatever good technologies we develop, I think we should start sharing amongst ourselves, and that's how India is taking a lead in bringing the developed nations, developing nations, and towards developing nations on one platform to see that we share technologies so that all of us get same technologies at affordable cost.
DD India correspondent Sabina Roy also spoke with the Director of National Innovation Foundation of India, Dr. Vipin Kumar, on grassroots level innovations from India, particularly from the Northeast. Dr. Kumar is attending the G20 Research and Innovation Initiative Gathering Conference in Dibrugarh. Take a listen.
Today at G20 Research, Innovation and Initiative Gathering, we have with us Dr. Vipin Kumar, who is the Director at the National Innovation Fund. Welcome, sir, to DD News.
Thank you very much.
Sir, you were talking about that how a National Innovation Foundation is taking up grassroots level inventions, to the laboratories. So, what kind of innovations have your foundation worked on?
You see that the people in our country are very creative, whether they are in the laboratories or they are in the villages. Basically, lots of people try to solve their problems within the limited resources around them. And you need a platform to nurture those, innovations. So National Innovation Foundation is a platform which provides the end-to-end support, started from scouting to documentation, validation of innovators' claim, value addition, IP protection, and finally taking it to the masses through commercial and non-commercial diffusion both.
Sir, what are the innovations that your institution has created? Like you were talking about Mitti Cool, which is about clay products. So could you please explain us?
Yeah, we do have more than 350,000 innovations, and out of that lots of innovations have reached to the market through commercial channels also. And you mentioned about the Mitti Coal. It's a very interesting concept. A person, the potters are there everywhere. So he thought that why not this art should go worldwide. And in addition to that, what we did, in fact, because the innovator was having some limitations, in fact, he's somewhere saturated in the business. So what we thought that let us also call large number of people who are there in that, pottery, and give them the training so that hundreds of such groups could be there. So it would develop the, it would generate the employment for large number of people.
Sir, as the conference is being held here in Assam, and as you know that the Northeast is quite rich in biodiversity and we have lots of sustainable industry. So any such innovations from the Northeast?
Lots of innovations are there from the Northeast. Rather, if you say in National Innovation Foundation, a considerable number of innovations are there from the Northeast, and lots of people basically in the old tradition are doing certain innovations which might not only sustaining the tradition but also enhancing the efficiency, reducing the drudgery, and also utilizing the natural resources. And definitely it's a win-win situation, and I hope that wherever the innovativeness is there, the prosperity will follow. And definitely the Northeast, obviously this conference on circular bioeconomy is at the right place. I believe that no other place can be better than this.
Northeast is also no less in innovation part when it comes to innovations from sustainable products. With camera person Pranab Chetia, Sabina Roy, TT India.
DD India correspondent Sabina Roy also spoke exclusively with Dr. Rajesh Gokhale, Secretary in the Department of Biotechnology in the Ministry of Science and Technology in the Government of India. Take a listen.
Sir, the agenda at this conference was also talking about decarbonization of industry. So how biotechnology will play a role, in decarbonizing of industry?
So if you look at Indian chemical sector, which is one of the very important sector actually, about 70,000 to 80,000 molecules are produced by chemical sector. Now these molecules are produced under high pressure and high temperature conditions because of the mechanism by which synthesis are done actually. Now raw materials for all of these come from petrochemical industry. Now in future what is going to happen that the raw material available will not be available for it, and therefore one can adapt these to fermentation technologies where microbes can start producing industry. For example, we already know like cheese and others are produced by microorganisms, right? Similarly, chemicals and large number of molecules will be produced through microbial factories that will actually be utilizing metabolic pathways, and we use AI-based technologies that will be used in engineering of processes, and therefore the whole industry will slowly shift to biotechnological, microbiological, resource-based circular economy, where now carbon credits will actually go down because you won't use high temperature, high pressure conditions actually, and the factories will become more friendlier and easier to talk about.
All right, sir. Sir, India is and the whole world is also heading towards zero emissions. So, do you have to say something about what are the outcomes of these G20 deliberations help towards this zero carbon emissions?
I think this is what is the key, is the reutilization of whatever you are done actually. So one of the emission, can you now, if there are carbon dioxide, methane, carbon monoxides that are produced, now can you make microbes in plants that capture these carbon resources actually? Of course, they are doing it on their own, but we are not able to convert them right now. They are not economically viable such that you can convert the carbon that is captured into a utility value actually. That is what is called zero emission. So basically zero emission does not mean that you don't have any emission. The emissions are used and recycled in some other ways such that it's actually utilized in a ways actually. So this is how biotechnological tools and technologies in future will couple industries, and therefore can provide ways to resolve these kind of important challenges for future.
Sir, India is rich in biodiversity, and we have a rich traditional knowledge system where we have been using, things from the nature to produce daily items. So how these knowledge systems will go in building, in shaping the contours of these G20 deliberations?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question actually what you asked. Bioresources is immense in our country, and they're also very diverse. You have Himalayan terrain region, you have a northeast region which has its own unique capacity. You go to you go to middle part of our country, it has a very different bioresource. You go to west part of Rajasthan, there is a desert economy. Now all of these places you cannot convert into one another. You need to sustain the economy and the bioavailability of the resource that is present over there, and therefore your mechanisms and technologies that you should evolve should be applicable to those regions actually. So it's the regeneration capacity of those regions is going to be the key actually. And you can't say that I'm going to convert desert into a non-arid place actually. In fact, you should know how to utilize desert, because there are different kind of advantages of maintaining desert actually, and this is where biotechnology will have to play a role. You need to come up with solutions that are very much in fact, as in our country said, we have 9 climatic zones. That's what we say about in our country actually. And for these different climatic zones, you will have to come up with different microbial resources, different technologies, different enzymes, different ways in which they will actually provide you avenues to recover and recycle and reuse the pathways that are important for doing this.
DD India correspondent Sabina Roy also reports on how sustainable products handmade by women self-help groups are being displayed at the G20 Research and Innovation Initiative Gathering Conference in Dibrugarh.
We are here at the sidelines of G20 Research, Innovation and Initiative Gathering Conference, and as you can see, there are stalls being set up. So this is a stall from the This is a self-help group from the Assam State Rural Livelihood Mission set up by the Panchayat and Rural Development Government of Assam. And as you can see, the women out here have displayed their products which are made from water hyacinth, and these are all hand-woven, handcrafted products. So as the focus agenda today is on circular bioeconomy, how can we develop more of sustainable products? So here is an example from Assam, and today we have with us Mrinmoy Kolita, block coordinator of Government of Assam from the Panchayat and Rural Development. So Mrinmoy, so you have set up a stall here from the self-help group. So this is a stall from Tinsukia, right? And that is the stall from Dibrugarh. So what are the products that you have displayed out?
We promote self-help groups, and through self-help groups we try to develop the livelihood activities they are doing. So in that process, our members, I mean SAG members, they have produced some handmade items. For example, I can show you some. These are products made from water hyacinth. These are locally made. Yes, right. This is table mat, and this is a tray. You can use it at your home. Nice. And there are bottle hangers and all.
These are bottles, bottle covers.
Bottle covers.
These are bags made from water hyacinth.
And we have file folders also. So these are all made from water hyacinth, and these are locally made. And besides, we are also displaying some traditionally handcrafted
gamusas, right? Can you tell us the different type of gamusas that Assam has?
Actually, we have lots of culture and lots of tradition in Assam. So basically, there are too many types of gamusas in Assam. So but we are displaying. First of all, I must show you the Ahom community's gamusa. That is the Ahom community's gamusa. That cap in front of the gamusa, it's called faru, and it's also from the Ahom community. Besides, we also have gamusa from the Moran community of Assam. Moran community basically resides in Tinsukia district of Assam. So that's the traditional Moran gamusa. And besides all those, we have eri chadar. This is a traditionally woven chadar, and nowadays it is really rare to find this kind of chadars and all. We have Tosmuga gamusas also. Tosmuga gamusas also. Tosmuga, actually this is basically made from the Tosmuga silk, which is famous for its color, and it's only found in Assam from the Muga silk. So which is world famous. So this is made from this Tosmuga silk. Besides, we have handmade Ohomia jewelry.
Handmade jewelries.
Yes, these are handmade jewelries, and these are prepared and produced by the SAG members. Yes, these are handmade, and we call it Ohomia Gohana in Assam. So this is all the things we are displaying right now.
So as you can see that Mrinmoy has talked about water synth, products made from water synth, and numerous sustainable products that have been displayed out here from the Assam government. With camera person Pranab Chetia, Subina Roy.
Day one of the second Framework Working Group meeting in Chennai focused on the current global economic outlook and the macroeconomic implications of food and energy insecurity. Delegates exchanged views and experiences on the key forces shaping the evolving economic landscape. DD India correspondent spoke to some of the G20 delegates attending the meeting. Take a listen.
The G20 presidency is a huge task for a country, and we are really lucky to have India as a host this year, as a presidency this year. The hospitality is great. I am personally glad to be here in Chennai.
Discussions are very good. As always, the preparation of the chair and the Indian president has been excellent. And as a colleague from the United Nations, I'm very happy to be here and to engage with all of you. First session was a more general session, issues related to inflation, to central bank policy, financial stability, with the banks recently in some countries. Next session will be on inflation more specifically, so we'll discuss that at length.
Everything is amazing. I think it will be a very productive session, and India is a very beautiful country. It is the third time I'm here for the G20 meetings, and everything is amazing. So cultural program, organization, it's so nice.
That's it then in this edition of India at G20. Thanks for watching.
Get in-depth analysis of the important news of the day. Spotlight on day's newsmakers. Expert comments to dissect the news. Get the finer points of the matter. Watch Dateline 5 p.m. on weekdays on DD India.